Sorry.
So we got with us Ed Batten for 933 Main Street and John Spree, I guess Spree, right? Spree?
Fees.
Fees, okay. So 400 Main Street and Creation Cafe, which is right next to Holiday Travel downtown. So I've got to read this little piece since it's a public meeting and it's just me and Jeff.
Sure.
So-
I'm looking up my documents on my phone while you're.
Okay. Notice of meeting, bylaw design review committee, March 18th, 2021, 4 o'clock. Consistent with the governor's orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation to the greatest extent possible. The public may not physically attend the physically attend the meeting, but every effort has been made to allow the public to view or to listen to the meeting in real time. Persons who wish to do this are invited to click on the following, and it gives you a link. If you do not have a camera or a microphone on your computer, you can use the following dial-up number is 1312-626-6799 this meeting will be audio and video recorded. So with that, now I got to find my share screen, which I had trouble with last time.
You'll get better at it the 35th time you do it.
Yeah, I know. Somewhere along the line, I hit the right button and I found the right thing.
I've got him here. Just in case you need.
That's just me. I don't know why I can't get this to work.
There you go.
Now,
On your tabs at the top of the screen.
there we go. Now we're in. All right, so this is 933. And this is the original building, basically, as it was, or is it currently, basically, King's Arm Ministry. That one I always sort of like shook my head, trying to wonder what that was all about.
I have no idea what used to be there.
I peeked in the windows, basically, and I saw a few Bibles or something in there, or hymnals, I'm not sure which. So the proposal, basically, for this is a replacement sign that is 15 square feet. Or Ed, I should let you sort of explain, since this is your presentation, really.
Yep. So it's a flat cutout wall sign. Let's see, the graphics are going to be high performance vinyl. Let's see, the lettering, the B is 14 inches in height. We reduced that so that it used to be a little bit larger. So we reduced the size to comply. The rest of the lettering is all 5 3/4 of an inch in height. The material is going to be Comacel, which is essentially a synthetic sign material that we use in replacement of wood, because it lasts forever, it doesn't rot, and it just it maintains itself a lot better than wood does. Yeah, background's going to be painted black with a painted yellow border that'll kind of fold onto the edges a little bit. And yeah, we'll be installing it with studs. And, you know, I believe that space is 32 inches in height. So it'll, you know, it'll tuck right in there. And I think it'll look really nice in the space. And, you know, it's got good colors. It's got good contrast. It's, you know, I think it's a good design. It's a lot better than their original one, which I won't even show you guys. Luckily, we were able to convince them to go with this font and format.
That's good.
Yep.
No, they're not going to put any lighting or anything like that.
Nope. They had no plans for lighting. Yeah, I told they wanted to go with non-illuminated. They're going to have pretty standard business hours during the day. You know, I believe 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. And so they didn't express any interest in having a lit sign.
All right. Caution that the other thing you should caution them on, they can only allow 10% signage on the windows.
Okay, all right. I'll be sure. Yeah, I asked them about window graphics or store hours, and they said they were going to hold off on that for now. You know, I explained to them that, you know, Wakefield does have restrictions, so don't just go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, give me a heads up what you're expecting to do, and I'll be sure to run it by you guys to make sure it's all, you know, all good and complies and everyone's happy.
All right. Jeff, any comments?
I just want to check if the yellow border, is that an applied paint, or does it actually have a profile? I can't tell the graphic.
So it's just going to be, it's painted. So we'll paint the whole sign black, mask it off, and then paint the edges yellow. But it's not like it's not a different material like a molding being applied to it. It's just a
like
flat painted edge.
There's a cross section that makes it look, I think, like a little bit like like an applied piece, and I couldn't tell from the elevation of it. It looked like,
yeah, you know what? Zooming in on my drawing on my computer, it looks like he did add a little. The plan that shouldn't be there. Sorry about that. It should just be a flat painted surface.
I was thinking it looked like sort of a routed edge or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like it has a profile in the straight on elevation as well. I can't tell if that's a drop shadow or something.
No, it's just going to be a 90-degree edge. So yeah, there's no plan to put a bevel or anything on that.
And the letters are not applied either, right? They're just part of the vinyl graphic.
Correct. Yes. So the letters are not raised. So looking at it, you know, from the side, it'll just be one surface, one plane.
Is it a matte finish or?
Let's see. So we use usually we just go with a satin finish. Usually, we find that it's a nice in between, but you know, gloss is usually a little too shiny, and matte, you know, the customer usually requests that specifically if they're going for a specific look. But usually when no one specifies, we just go with a satin finish.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So this being 15 square feet and the letters being of appropriate size and the location is within the signage band, basically, I'd say this is okay. So we will put a memo out to the building department probably tomorrow recommending approval, basically, or recommending basically a permit for this. And it'll be up to you just to chase them basically on getting a permit for this installation.
Yeah, stay on top of them, get that permit, put their sign up.
That's it. All right. Good.
Great. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was painless. That was painless. All right. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
John, you're next.
Yeah, so it sounds like, well, this is my first go around at this, and I'm anything but a sign expert. But but what we're trying to do is replace this. What you're looking at is the storefront, which I guess has been there for 15 years or so. And with a sign that matches our logo and branding. And what we put together is conforms with the, so this is the font and our logo on the sign. Chris Markarian has been working with us. He's the sign expert here. And he actually tried to talk us out of using our logo for the O, but we're going to give it a try because we like it. The sign is actually conforms to the 15 square feet, but it doesn't conform to the second requirement, which is 2/3 of the face of the building. So it's slightly over that. Chris is suggesting we use 1/2-inch letters on aluminum panel for the wall sign. And he's going to affix the logo for the O. That's the wall sign. And then we'd like to do a bracket sign as well along the sidewalk, which is the conforming inside. I think this one's actually conforming in all aspects except for it's a bracket sign, which has to go to the zoning board anyway, as I understand it. Again, just using
that and the fact that it's not an ornamental bracket sign.
Oh yeah, right.
So there's two. I mean, they require every bracket sign or every bracket sign has to go before the ZBA for approval.
Yeah.
But it also says it wants to be, a scroll or ornamental type of bracket sign.
Well,
So
it actually says ornamental in the regs. It doesn't say scroll. And
yeah.
if you look at the definition of ornamental, I think it's open to interpretation.
Well,
but
that was not I know, having talked to the people that created it, created the bylaw, basically, that their intent was a scroll type of thing, basically. So,
yeah. And so if we would be required to do that, I think it would just take so much away from the signage that we would probably pass on the bracket sign.
Well, I think you've got several things you have to chase. So you got to go before them anyway.
Yeah.
So you go before them and say, we want to use this type as opposed to that type of thing. So
yeah, and I think actually, you know what, for the board, I might actually have Chris do a mock-up of what it would look like with the scroll, and I can tell you it wouldn't look very good.
no, I wouldn't bother.
Okay.
I mean, you can. I mean, it's your presentation, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I'd bother, basically.
All right. Well, I'll just tell them. I think they should be able to tell.
Sorry, I was going to say rule 1 in design presentations is never to show anything you don't want.
Okay. Good.
Someone's going to, because you're going to put it up and talk about how bad it is, and every person's going to say, "Oh, I really don't mind that." And then
Yeah.
you're stuck. So show them what you want and make a good case for it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I think that's
So then you've got your door. Basically.
yeah, and then we'd like to put like a transparent decal on the door front, which there was one there with the old stuff, and we actually scraped that one off.
Yeah.
And this I think is also non-conforming because if you take the total area and if you don't count the transparency of it, it's about 14% instead of 10%.
Yeah. Well, if and when the new bylaw, revised bylaw comes out, we recognize transparency, which wasn't before. It was just like it was a solid object there. So we are recognizing transparency, and even to the point that that you should make, basically, in this case, to get the extra square footage, it should be noted transparency, because I've have dealt with one or two down the street where, in fact, I made a case basically for transparency because it was just a flourish on the glass, but it took up about 50% of the glass, but it was like a big L letter, basically. So in reality, if you could actually take the area of the letter, you'd find out that it's like 5% of the whole glass area.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was actually what my one hope, which you dashed, Jim, was that if we just put letters up, that I only had to count the square footage of the letters and not the space around the letters. But
Well, no, you can,
I think the sign, it's you can see it fits in the sign band.
no, you can, did I dash that? No.
Yeah, I think, well, maybe I misunderstood what you said,
No,
but
you can do freestanding letters.
yeah, but you said the way you calculate the square footage was around the edges of the.
Yeah,
You know,
it was the rectangle that encompasses the letters.
Yeah, I
But
think I
when you
wanted
put
to
it,
try to do it individually.
if you did it individually, basically, so you'd take, just say that Creation Cafe on there, all right, that you didn't have a border around it. It wasn't mounted on something, it was mounted directly on the surface.
Yeah.
And you would measure basically to the extreme edges of the letters in both directions. That's the area.
Yeah, yeah, I was actually thinking I would try to do it, you know, take away the space in between the letters too and calculate it like just around the C. But it doesn't matter because we let the 15 foot actually looks like about the right size of the sign anyway.
Yeah.
If it was bigger, it probably wouldn't. I mean, it would be bigger and easy to see. Chris says like, look, this is big enough to get the right distance for people to be able to see it when they're driving by in the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if we went, because I had one thought, which was, well, if we're going to go to the zoning board, why shouldn't we go for something bigger? But I just don't think it would look as good.
Yeah.
Bigger. This is like, you know, it's got our logo, it's got our branding, it's visible. I think it's clean. I'm not anticipating that anyone should have a problem with it. I think it's definitely an upgrade from what's there.
No, since you've got to go before the board, you might as well go for what you want. As Jeff says, show what you want. All right. And this is 15 square feet. It's just the end dimension basically to the extreme of the building. The sign is over 2/3 of the width, which I got the calculations on. But that the other thing I think was store frontage. So I think I don't think, well, let me go down to the code pieces basically. So what you're asking for is basically freedom. Jeff, before I get into this, is there anything you want to say?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. So the wall sign, basically your 2/3 is the issue you got to chase, which you're aware of. All right. Yeah. And then the projecting bracket sign is a special permit only, and you're 9 square feet. So it's not like you're asking for a bigger sign. It just requires it to be done, period, you know?
Yeah.
And the other one basically is 10%, which would be your window for your doorway. Whatever that number happens to be, you ask them for 13% or whatever the number, or 14%, whatever it comes out to, and make the point that you visually can see through it. It's not like it's a blank slate there that you can't see through, which is why they try to make it as simple as possible for the building department or somebody else to measure it. So they said it's an encompassing rectangle. They don't care what happens in that rectangle, but it can only be 10%.
Yeah.
I think it's important basically to make a difference as to what it actually is and whether it's really blocking your view at all. The other one is aggregate area. Aggregate area is basically the total signage on your building. All right. So the door sign, the bracket sign, and the wall sign. So you exceed the area, the total area basically. And you do that by measuring the storefront, the whole storefront, from above the sign to the grade and side to side. And so you exceed, like I got down there, you exceed it basically. So your 15 square foot sign and 9 square sign is 24 square feet.
Yeah.
Let's see, where is it? Not sure here.
You just have it 166 square feet is the area of the business facade.
Yeah. and 10% of that is 16.6 square feet.
Yeah.
And you're at 24 square feet. And I personally don't see that as an issue. I mean, it looks good. So you would ask him basically to allow for 24 square feet.
Yeah, and honestly, the reason is because of the bracket sign, so which doesn't show up on the facade. I mean, I think what they're trying to do is not have the facade all craziness. So hopefully, I didn't know about this one, but hopefully no one will. I think Jim, you had mentioned that they're looking to try to get, or maybe it's just your personal view of liking the bracket signs.
Yeah, they I mean, they've at one time I think people writing this figured there'd be a ton of bracket signs up, and there haven't been, and it really helps the downtown. It helps for drivers. It helps particularly for pedestrians, basically.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's a nice look. But if for some reason they don't let us have the bracket sign, we'll live with that. And then,
Yeah.
and in fact, then we'd be conforming on this last one.
I didn't bring this one up because I until I got all the stuff and started to calculate it, I said, oh, I got to check one more thing, and this is the one more thing that I had to check. Jeff, anything from you?
Well, I am inclined to advocate that last requirement, that we in our recommendation say that we don't really have a problem with that technically being over the allowed area. The facade's relatively narrow and it's shorter. If it were, I understand where the regulation came from, but I think the sign, the main sign that's in the band and the blade sign are both within the spirit of the regulations.
Right.
It's just that the space is so narrow.
Yeah, we're hindered by the fact that we have a small shop.
And I wouldn't quibble. What's the height of that? Do we have condo documents that show us what's technically the height of that facade? I mean,
well, there were dimensions provided us basically from the 100 feet,
Sure.
basically there to
It's
some
part of a
footage,
larger facade too. It's not
some footage up there,
Yeah, did you can you scroll down to the calculation for that you did for the sign? So what number did you use for the height? 127.
At 27 above, and then that's 127 inches basically. And
Yeah, but it actually looks, I don't know if you count the sign band as part of the side facade. I guess that's
yes.
Because I'm looking at the diagram now and it shows like from the sidewalk to the bottom of the sign band is 126. And then the sign band, actually don't have the measurement on that. So I think actually the area is probably a little bit bigger than 166.
It's not going to change much, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. This is your facade. All right. Everything above that line is part of the apartment complex above.
Yeah. I just think though, if you look on the right, the address from just the maroon part is 126 inches. And then another 27 and 1/8 is the sign band. So the total height between the maroon part and the sign band is actually 100 and whatever that is, 54 inches.
It's actually probably a little bit smaller because it would be from this line here to probably a center line in here, which is your demising wall, basically. Even though your dimension goes out to this edge of doorway, there's a wall between the two. And most when you rent property, it usually is to the center line or to the face of wall. All right. And the rest of it becomes either building or it depends on, if you had a condo, it'd be like center line of wall. So you'd own a responsibility to the center line. It all depends on how the condo documents are written or your leases are written. But I'm just taking what I've got for dimensions basically is from here to there.
Yeah,
So I'm using that plus this dimension and that dimension to come up with the full facade. But it's not going to make that much difference, even if you squash the numbers down.
yeah, exactly. You're
Just-
right.
You just go ahead and ask, since you're there, ask basically for 24 square feet of signage, period.
Yeah. And I don't think we're asking for a lot.
No, and Jeff's right. I mean, I think you could find every building, because most buildings are 24 feet, 22 feet across, all right? And all these businesses that went in on the first floor. So every one of them would have that issue unless you've got a bigger facade. It's just the way it is. And that's why, these sort of tripwires, basically, that's why in the revised bylaw, basically, is this whole discussion would happen amongst us here, not with the ZBA.
Yeah.
We would be authorized, basically, to make the decision amongst us, the design review board.
Well, timing in life is everything.
So, so next step here, see if I can get everybody back on the screen here. Join the meeting here.
Down the bottom, Jim, does it say stop sharing if you,
I'm looking at the top here. It says new share. I don't have anything on the bottom, basically. Cloud meeting, I don't want to have that one. Your screen share is paused. Stop sharing, I got it. Okay. Yep, there we are. Well, there we are for part of us.
I can see you fine.
Yeah, I can see you guys only one at a time. Anyway, so next step here for us is Jeff, you're on board, right?
yeah, I think we could write a supporting letter for the bracket sign and just acknowledge that although the total square footage is over, it's more a result of the facade being so small, and that the signage is in, follows the intent of the bylaw, not the letter of it.
All right, so what I normally do at this point is I write a memo to the building department denying the request for a permit. That Brian McGill called me. And I note the sections, the reasons why, and the sections basically, which John will give you a hint as to which ones you've got to ask for and what you've got to ask for, because you'll get a copy of this. And then you have to file with the ZBA for a hearing
Okay.
at which you basically go through a presentation of this whole thing, all right? And it takes 90 days from start to finish. And because what the first thing is that once you file, not once I send them something, is they have to give public notice to everybody within 200 feet of your shop. And then the hearing it gets published basically in the newspaper. Then it's set into an agenda by the building department to have a zoning board hearing. And then after the hearing, depending on which way it goes, well, it doesn't matter which way it goes, is say this all gets, they approve what you request.
Yeah.
Then what they do basically is it sits for 2 weeks for anybody that might not have attended or anybody that feels as though they've been slighted in some way or other to basically come back. I haven't had that happen, so I don't know what I don't know what that does to the slowdown process.
All right, well, let's hope we don't chart new territory here.
No, you listen, there are bigger rocks in front of you than this one, believe me. I mean, just in the town general, all right? We're talking about projects going on in this thing that people have torches out for, so they're not going to be out with a torch and pitchforks for you, quite
No.
frankly. So anyways, that's about it. So
So do I wait until your memo before I request the hearing, or do I do that now and then?
you've got to get from the building department a form to fill out. All right.
Okay.
And I would start filling it out. I'd start filling it out. You can call Gail at the building department and have her send you a PDF of it.
Okay.
I don't have one. You fill it out. And what you want to do is you want to get my memo, which will indicate which items you need to chase. All right. So you got about 4 items to probably chase there. And you'll just have to, write it out and say, I'm going after section so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, basically. And then file that with them with whatever fees involved in it, which is not that big a deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And then
Next
they'll
step is to-
let you know a date.
Yeah, next step for me then is to reach out, get the form from Gail. I'll wait to get your memo, then I can finish the form and submit it with my fee.
Yep, exactly.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Yep.
so with that, I guess I have to, anything else, Jeff?
Nothing for me.
Okay, so with that, I guess I end this meeting. So at 4:42, we're ending this Zoom meeting for the Design Review Board, which had covered 933 Main Street and 400 Main Street. Thank you for your participation all.
Terrific, guys.